Today's the day I'm going to tell my manager I'm going to resign. Oh my god. I need to hurry up to catch the bus. Wish me luck. I did it. What have I done? Oh my god. I don't have anything else lined up. I'm hiding in the bathroom. I need to process this. As you've just seen, I did a thing. I quit my job without having anything else lined up. I also ended my apartment contract. In 3 weeks from now, I will not have a job and I will not have a home. It's fine, right? If you don't know me and for some reason clicked on this video, hey, my name is Anna and I'm a German mechanic engineer based in Sweden, but not much longer. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a life update, why I quit my job, where I'm moving, and what I'm gonna do next. Yeah, so why did I quit my job? The short answer is that I was ready for something new and that I felt like I wasn't learning enough. The long answer is that it was all sparked by another offer I got for a different job here in Sweden. And at first I thought I really want to take this job. Seemed like a great opportunity. I was basically ready to leave my job and take this offer, but then throughout the interviews I had, I realized that it wasn't such a great fit after all. The role was a little bit different than I had expected. It was a lot more on a specialist track rather than being able to learn a lot of different new things. I think it would have been a little bit too structured for me, honestly, because I'm used to having a lot of freedom, having a very high pace. This job would have been probably way better managed than what I'm used to, but also maybe a little bit boring at this stage. But then when I decided I don't want to have this job, it was weird because I was so ready to leave my current job. I had kind of mentally prepared for that, and then I wasn't gonna. That also kind of felt wrong. I'm also going through a little bit of a quarter life crisis right now, I think. I thought that I had the next years pretty well figured out, and I think especially in engineering, it's quite common to think that the biggest decision that you take is which kind of engineering major am I gonna do? Is it gonna be mechanical engineering, software engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering? And then once you've made that decision, somehow everything else is gonna just fall into place. At least that's kind of what I thought. I mean, it did fall into place, but I think that is the problem. So I got this job right out of university because I was already working there. I did an internship at this company. I wrote my thesis there, I was working there part-time, and then they offered me a full-time job and I took it. I am lucky in the way that it was such a great job. They gave me so much freedom, so much opportunities to learn and run my own projects. So I learned project management, I learned battery production technology and how to design and build factories. But I also realized that the path that this naturally leads to, just not the path that I want to be on, and that path being becoming more and more specialized in battery production and also climbing up the management ranks. But I want to explore more different industries, and I also don't want to be an engineering manager if that means that I get to do less engineering, less problem solving. I'm just going to be doing more and more people management. That just wasn't an inspiring goal for me. And if you don't see yourself and the people that are ahead of you on that path, it's quite demotivating. You need to have something that you find aspirational, that you want to work towards. At least that's how I feel. So I didn't have that. So I just took this job, which was a great job, but I didn't make a deliberate choice for this job. I wasn't thinking of, okay, of all the different things that I could do now after university, which job would be the best first step of my career. I didn't think like that. I just thought, oh, this is a great option. It's the only option that I have even considered, so I'm just gonna go with it. I think that's fine doing that for your first job. Probably normal. There's so many changes that you don't want, you're already ending your university life. So it's nice to have something familiar to do afterwards, which for me was working at the same company I had been working at. But then now is the time of my if you will, quarter life crisis, where I'm like, okay, now what do I actually want to do? And what is the best next step? And now I do want to make a deliberate choice and not just stumble into the next thing, or even worse, stay in something that I realized isn't the best thing for me to be doing right now. And then another big factor for me is also that I'm in a long distance relationship, and my boyfriend just started working and he really loves his job, so he does not want to leave that job. Originally, the plan was for him to move here to Sweden after his first job, once he has gained a little bit of working experience, so that it would be easier for him to find a job in a new country, because it is definitely like the first job is the most challenging to find, right? So if you can have that one, and he also started where he wrote his thesis, so that's always an easier transition. And then we were like, okay, then afterwards he can move here. And then I thought, well, why? If I already know that I want to leave my job, or that I am ready for something new, he is really happy where he is at, then that doesn't make any sense. And it sounds so logical now, but if you have a specific plan, it's difficult to take a step back and question it. Now, that still doesn't explain why I just quit my job, right? It only explains why I'm looking for a new one. I could have just stayed in my current job until I found a new one and then switched. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Especially in this economy. But for probably the past year or so, I've had the plan that I want to take a longer break the next time that I switch jobs, because I haven't had a proper break in so long since, I don't know, I just did too many things. During my master, I started a second master, and then I had to write both theses at the same time, and then I was already working at the time, and I didn't get to take any time off between finishing my theses and starting my first job. In fact, they were overlapping by a month, which was really stressful. So I didn't have a break then, and then I only had like 10 holiday days in my first year, because that's how things work in Sweden. So I got to take 2 weeks off over that year, and then I had some vacations, but they always were doing something, like, traveling somewhere, not really long enough to feel like I can just waste some days on doing nothing and figuring out what I want to do and where I'm at right now. I really need a break, is what I'm trying to say. I really feel like I need that. And with the notice periods here in Sweden, which is 3 months at my current job, so I have to tell my job 3 months before I stop working that I want to leave. I would have to look for a position, way ahead, because I want to take off at least 3 months. I would have to look for a job that I can start 6 months into the future, and that's just not how companies like to hire. They want you to be available right away, or 3 months is okay for them to wait, but not really much longer than that. So I would have a disadvantage over other people applying to that same job. And like I said, I don't really know what I want to do next, so I don't want to just stumble into the next job not having figured out first what I want to do. Yeah, I don't want to rush it. And then, of course, it also helps that I can afford to take off some time. It's a really good reason to save, to be able to take some time off, to have this freedom to not work for a while. So I really recommend that. Yeah, so I have some money saved up, and I also have some backup options. Like, my boyfriend is working, and if we are a little bit frugal, then we can both live off of his salary. And my parents also support me doing this and quitting my job before I have something else lined up. And they said that, if worst case, I can always stay in my old room at my parents'. And I'm fairly confident that with my skill set, I can always find a job if I need to. So even if I don't have it all figured out in 3 months, or whenever I run out of money, I think that I can find a job if I need to. So overall, I decided that, yeah, it's a little bit risky, but it's not too risky, and it feels like a great decision so far. So yeah, we'll see how this turns out. Maybe I'll regret it. I don't think so, but you never know. And yeah, so that's the reason why I quit my job without having a new job lined up. Okay, so next, where am I going to move? I'm going to move to the Netherlands, which is where my boyfriend lives. I'm not sure where exactly I'm gonna end up, because that depends, of course, on where we'll find a job. But for now, as I'm taking time off, I will not have a place. I'm gonna be staying with my family and with his family, and also do some traveling. That's all I know for now. I feel like it's not like me to not have everything planned out to a T. And it's a little bit stressful, but maybe this is just exactly what I need. So yeah, I don't have very specific plans. It's great that I won't have to pay rent while I'm off work, but I also then will not have a place, so I'm gonna be a little bit, couch hopping, but it's fine. Okay, and finally, what am I gonna do next? What am I gonna do during that time? And after, I guess. So, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna take at least 3 months off, and like 3 months is my minimum, and then depends on when I find a job. And I'm going to use that time to figure out what I want to do next and what the next career move should be for me. I'm going to then obviously look for a new job, and I mean I already am, but yeah, I'm not gonna rush into it. And also it's really time intensive to look for a job and to organize interviews, because they always want to do it during their working hours, and you of course don't want to do it during your working hours because that's when you're at work. So it's really not a great match time-wise. It's like the worst two schedules to try to fit together, especially if you like me work in a lab where, I mean, you cannot just have an interview in a lab and have a 4-hour daily commute like I have. So I don't even have time right after my work or right before my work, because that's when I'm on the company bus, which is also not a great place to have an interview. So yeah, this is also why I'm really gonna start looking for a job once I'm off, because that's when it's so much easier. You have time for it. I'm also gonna be doing some traveling, so I'm gonna travel to France and Spain, and I plan to visit some friends around Europe. Haven't really figured out when and where, but that's the plan as well. So some friends I haven't seen in a while. And I'm gonna be learning Dutch. I already started, and yeah, I have this Dutch intensive course that I'm gonna do because I really don't want my language skills to limit my job search too much. And I know it will. I mean, it's inevitable because I'm not a Dutch native, but the more Dutch I learn, I feel like the easier I will have it to integrate and to find a job. And then, of course, I'm gonna make videos. So I'm gonna try to take you along this ride as much as possible. And I should have more time by then as well. So hopefully I'm gonna be uploading more frequently as well. And otherwise, I just want to read a lot and sleep a lot and work out and recharge. And that's all the plans. And then, yeah, and then afterwards I want to work. But what am I gonna work? I don't know. If you have an idea for me, you can let me know. I mean, I'm gonna take any advice at this point. Now, if you're wondering what kind of life I'm leaving behind, then you can check out this day in the life video, which, is showing a very long day in my life right now. And maybe then you'll understand why I need to change something. And if you want to see what I'm up to next, then you better subscribe so that you can follow along. Okay, bye.